Sleep paralysis is a terrifying phenomenon that has haunted people for centuries. During an episode, sufferers find themselves unable to move or speak, often while experiencing vivid and frightening hallucinations. These true tales from sleep paralysis sufferers offer a glimpse into the harrowing experiences faced during the darkest hours of the night. From shadowy figures to suffocating pressures, these stories reveal the sheer terror of being trapped in a body that refuses to respond. The Shadow Man. Emily, a 32-year-old teacher, recounts her first encounter with sleep paralysis at age 18. She woke up in the middle of the night, unable to move, and saw a tall, shadowy figure standing at the foot of her bed. As the Shadow Man slowly approached her, Emily felt an overwhelming sense of dread and helplessness. The figure leaned over her, its presence menacing and suffocating. The paralysis lasted for what felt like an eternity before Emily could finally move and scream, causing the figure to vanish. This terrifying experience left her shaken and afraid to sleep for weeks. The suffocating presence. James, a 45-year-old construction worker, describes his recurring sleep paralysis episodes that began in his late 20s. During these episodes, he often feels a heavy pressure on his chest, as if someone is sitting on him, making it difficult to breathe. One night, he vividly recalls seeing a ghastly old woman with glowing eyes sitting on his chest, her bony fingers wrapped around his neck. The sensation of suffocation was intense, and he struggled to break free. The paralysis lasted several agonizing minutes before he could finally move, and the horrifying figure disappeared. This experience left James dreading the nights and the possibility of another terrifying encounter. The Whispering Voices. Maria, a 28-year-old nurse, shares her chilling experiences with sleep paralysis that started during her college years. Frequently, during these episodes, she hears whispering voices speaking in languages she cannot understand. One particularly terrifying night, Maria found herself paralyzed and surrounded by shadowy figures, all whispering frantically. She felt a cold, clammy hand touch her face, sending shivers down her spine. Unable to move or call for help, she endured the torment until the paralysis finally subsided. The haunting whispers and ghostly touches left Maria terrified of sleeping, afraid of when the whispers would return. The Alien Encounter. David, a 34-year-old IT specialist, believes his sleep paralysis episodes are connected to extraterrestrial encounters. One night, he woke up paralyzed, with a blinding light filling his room. Small, gray beings with large black eyes stood around his bed, examining him intently. The fear was so intense that David felt his heart racing, yet he couldn't move or cry out. He sensed the beings communicating telepathically, projecting a sense of calm that contrasted starkly with his terror. After what felt like hours, the light and the beings vanished, and David regained control of his body. This experience left him questioning reality and fearing future encounters during the vulnerable state of sleep paralysis. The Dark Figure. Sarah, a 26-year-old artist, has experienced sleep paralysis since she was a teenager. Her episodes often involve seeing a dark figure lurking in the corner of her room. One particularly frightening night, the figure approached her bed and leaned over her, its face just inches from hers. She could feel its cold breath on her skin and hear it whispering her name. Paralyzed and unable to scream, Sarah endured the terrifying presence until the paralysis finally released her. The experience left her shaken and fearful of sleeping, as the dark figure's haunting presence seemed to linger long after she woke. The Intruder. Michael, a 40-year-old accountant, vividly remembers a sleep paralysis episode where he felt an intruder had entered his home. He awoke paralyzed, hearing the unmistakable sound of footsteps approaching his bedroom. The door creaked open, and a shadowy figure stood in the doorway, watching him. As the figure slowly moved towards his bed, Michael's heart pounded with fear. He desperately tried to move or call for help, but was completely immobilized. Just as the figure reached out to touch him, the paralysis broke, and he was able to move again, finding his room empty. The terrifying experience left him constantly wary of falling asleep, haunted by the memory of the intruder. The out-of-body experience. Linda, a 30-year-old journalist, describes a unique aspect of her sleep paralysis episodes: out-of-body experiences. During these episodes, she feels as though her consciousness is floating above her body, watching herself from the ceiling. One night, she saw a dark, shadowy figure standing next to her bed, reaching out towards her physical form. The feeling of detachment, combined with the terror of seeing this menacing figure below, was overwhelming. She felt an intense urge to return to her body and managed to break free from the paralysis, jolting awake in a state of panic. The experience left Linda questioning the boundaries between dreams and reality, as well as the nature of her nighttime terrors. The haunted room. Kevin, a 38-year-old lawyer, believes his sleep paralysis episodes are linked to a haunted room in his childhood home. He recalls waking up paralyzed, unable to move or speak, with the sensation of someone sitting on the edge of his bed. He often saw shadowy figures moving around the room and heard disembodied voices whispering his name. These episodes were so frequent that Kevin eventually refused to sleep in that room, feeling a malevolent presence that seemed to target him during the night. The lingering fear and vivid memories of those experiences still haunt him, making him wary of sleeping alone in unfamiliar places. The demon attack. Rachel, a 29-year-old chef, recounts a horrifying sleep paralysis episode where she felt she was being attacked by a demon. One night, she woke up paralyzed, unable to move, with a grotesque, horned figure sitting on her chest, its eyes burning with malevolence. The demon's presence was overwhelming, and she felt an intense burning sensation in her chest as if it were sucking the life out of her. Despite her desperate attempts to scream or fight back, she remained immobile, enduring the terrifying assault until the paralysis finally released its grip. The experience left Rachel deeply shaken, struggling with the fear that the demonic entity might return during her vulnerable moments of sleep. The sleep paralysis cycle. Tom, a 33-year-old engineer, described his experience with recurring sleep paralysis episodes that often occur in cycles. He wakes up paralyzed, unable to move or speak, with a feeling of impending doom. During these cycles, he frequently sees shadowy figures and hears strange noises, such as footsteps or whispering voices. Each episode leaves him more exhausted and anxious, as he dreads the nights and the possibility of another attack. The constant fear and disrupted sleep take a toll on his mental and physical health, creating a vicious cycle of anxiety and sleep paralysis that he struggles to break. The silent screams. Jessica, a 27-year-old musician, often finds herself trapped in sleep paralysis, desperately trying to scream for help. During these episodes, she feels an ominous presence in the room, watching her intently. Despite her frantic attempts to call out, no sound escapes her lips, leaving her feeling utterly helpless and terrified. The silent screams echo in her mind, amplifying her fear and making her dread the night. Each episode leaves Jessica shaken, as the inability to voice her terror only deepens the horror of her experience. That's all for today's video. Thank you for joining us on this exploration of sleep paralysis. If you found this video informative and want to learn more about mysterious and unexplained phenomena, be sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more captivating content.